is basically your ultimate street smart map to publishing your very first SCI paper. Getting your hard work into a highly respected science citation index journal. We're going to take all the mystery, all that anxiety, and honestly, all the guesswork right out of the scientific publication process. This is your complete 0 to 1 guide. Now, the author of our source material brings some massive credibility to this explainer. We're talking over 50 SCI papers with more than 10 in top-tier journals and over 7,200 citations. That is huge. But, and this is crucial, remember that they started out at absolute zero, exactly where you might be sitting right now. They know exactly what it feels like to be completely lost, and they've distilled their whole journey into the insights we're unpacking today.
So, how do you actually go from 0 to 1? Look, if you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe under-mentored, or just absolutely terrified of rejection, well, this explainer is your practical cheat code. It's going to help you cross that terrifying gap from a blank page to a published paper. Because going from 0 to 1, it is always the hardest part. You might feel like your English isn't quite natural enough, or maybe your advisor is simply way too busy to hold your hand step by step. Well, listen, you are not alone, and those hurdles are exactly what we're going to dismantle today.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to tackle the 4 boss battles of publishing: topic selection, the writing framework, strategic submission, and mastering revisions. We're breaking this intimidating beast of a process down into finite, totally manageable stages.
All right, let's jump straight into stage 1, topic selection. The motto here, stop guessing, start hunting.
The biggest takeaway here is that brilliant topics aren't just born in a vacuum. You literally pick them directly from the literature. A lot of beginners get stuck because, frankly, they just aren't reading enough. But hey, forget about reading every single word of every single paper. Don't do that. Treat it like scrolling through a social media feed. Just dedicate 15 minutes a day to scanning titles and charts to find trending directions from the last 3 years. By doing this daily, you unconsciously build this amazing radar for what's hot in your field, and you do it without burning yourself out before the real work even begins. See something cool? Just save it and move on.
Now, this leads us to what the author brilliantly calls the complaints section. You want to hunt for this exact phrase, further research is needed. You'll usually spot it right at the very end of published papers. It's basically where the authors explicitly confess what they failed to do or what they totally missed. And you know what that confession is? It's a ready-made research direction handed to you right on a silver platter.
Remember, your topic does not have to be some massive, groundbreaking paradigm shift. For example, if someone complains in their paper that a specific method isn't suitable for small samples, well, you can easily fill that tiny gap by running an experiment with, you guessed it, a small sample. For your very first paper, please don't try to reinvent the wheel. As long as nobody else has plugged that specific hole yet, you have got a highly viable topic. Moving right along, we face the second boss battle, the writing framework. And the mantra here is beautifully simple. Copy the frame, fill the content. Let's break down the precise anatomy of a successful paper. The golden rule for beginners here is to just find 2 to 3 published papers in your field and use them as structural templates. Don't stress about being completely original with your formatting. Your introduction? It acts like a reverse pyramid, pulling the reader from a super broad context down to your highly specific goal. Your method section absolutely must be highly detailed and replicable. Then your results should pair your data with charts in a nice logical flow. After that, your discussion compares your work to past studies, explains the why, and highlights your innovation. And crucially, your abstract is a pure, concentrated distillation of the whole paper. That is exactly why you must write it absolutely last, once everything else is locked in. Build the framework first, then pour your data into it. Now, what if your English isn't native level? No problem. Use this hacker workflow explicitly recommended in our source. Seriously, don't let language be a barrier. Just write the draft in your native language, in this specific example, Chinese, and then use tools like DeepL or Google Translate to do the heavy lifting for you. After that, run it through Grammarly to fix up any weird structural errors. And finally, my favorite step, bribe a senior lab mate or your advisor with a boba tea for a final polish. Having a fresh set of expert eyes look over your paper is literally worth its weight in gold.
All right, stage 3 is where things get really real. Strategic journal submission. Welcome to academia's blind date.
There is a stark, almost painful difference between a successful match and a tragic desk reject here. A successful submission strategically matches the journal's aims and scope using tools like the Elsevier Journal Finder. Oh, and here's a fantastic pro tip. Actively cite recent papers from your target journal in your introduction. It builds instant rapport with the editors. On the flip side, An instant desk reject happens before peer review even starts. Why? Usually just because you failed to follow their strict formatting rules. Messing up your LaTeX template or getting your reference style wrong is absolutely the fastest way to get a no. Honestly, it's like showing up to a formal blind date in dirty sweatpants. Just don't do it.
So, before you even think about hitting that submit button, make absolutely sure you have your mandatory checklist ready. We're talking about your cover letter, your highlights, your conflict of interest statement, and, please pay attention to this last one, a list of about 10 recommended reviewers. A lot of beginners assume the journal just handles the reviewers entirely, which makes it super easy to forget or rush at the very last second. Having this list ready to go is absolutely essential for a smooth submission.
And finally, we reach stage 4, mastering revisions and rejections. Think of this as your personal level up guide. We really need to reframe that terrifying waiting period and those inevitable emails. When the reviews actually come back, your response strategy is critical. If you get a minor revision, hey, the dawn is near. Just explain your changes point by point and use color coding. Remember, these editors are reviewing dozens of papers. Color coding makes their life easy and shows immense respect for their time. Now, if you get a major revision, take a deep breath. Acknowledge their issue sincerely, provide a really detailed plan, and be fully ready to roll up your sleeves and add some new experiments. The golden rule here is to be sincere and remain absolutely humble, even if you politely disagree with the reviewer's point.
But what if you get flat out rejected? Well, first of all, do not panic. Our source highlights this ultimate success story. One student was rejected 26 times on their first paper. 26 times. Can you imagine? But instead of quitting, they used all that brutal feedback to iteratively improve their work. They eventually got it published, and because they had leveled up their skills so much through that gauntlet, they went on to publish 5 more papers in a single year. Rejection isn't a wall. It's literally your roadmap to getting better.
Look, this whole journey from 0 to 1, it might take anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half. It's going to involve failed experiments, late nights, and, for sure, moments of intense self-doubt. But when you finally open your inbox and you see that accepted email glowing green, man, every single struggle, every grueling revision, and every ounce of effort will be completely worth it.
You now have the ultimate insider's map to conquer this trial. We've covered how to hunt for topics, how to build your framework, how to submit strategically, and how to actually embrace rejection. So, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. What is actually stopping you from opening a blank document and writing your very first word?